guys, I know it's Sunday and everyone is already thinking about tomorrow and Monday, but hey, I'm here right now. And as I'm in a really good mood because we had an amazing panel just one keynote before, I want to give you all the insights and all the knowledge that my clients who come to our agency, LKI Consulting, get paying 5-6 figures. But before we go there, I probably need to introduce the topic. So today, the event organizers asked me to talk about a very interesting topic, not just about the growth, but the sustainable growth. How can we, as founders, as investors, as service providers, fuel UAE's Web3 revolution by building extraordinary products? So this piece of statistic really surprised me that 7.1 out of 10 respondents believe that UAE has one of the highest crypto adoptions, and is actually the true. And they're sharing this #1 status together with Singapore. You like it or not, but UAE is a country that is now being put on the map in terms of not just crypto adoption, but also acceleration. And unfortunately, even though UAE puts those projects on the map, puts the country on the map with this large crypto adoptions, the projects who are building could be from this country, could be from all around the world. 92% of fail when they're scaling globally. So you might start building a project here, you might start building a project anywhere else in the world, but only 8% of those projects will succeed. And a very interesting piece of statistic I found when I was researching this topic, an average lifespan of the crypto project is 1.2 years only. So from the moment the company is incorporated, the project comes to life, to the moment they decide, hey, we need to close the doors, these things are not working out, it's only 1.2 years. And that's a very, very short period of time to, well, even be in a market. So today, I want to share with you some tips and tricks, what we do in a marketing agency to fuel that growth for our projects, to grow in a sustainable way. Not just do a token launch, do 10x, and then dump, but actually build a community and ecosystem that is there for you from day #1 to day 1000. But before we do that, I think I need to also introduce myself and talk a little bit about who I am and why the hell you need to listen to me. So I believe that scaling globally, not locally, requires a little bit of a different approach. It doesn't mean you need to just think about, hey, I want to be in these 5 countries and I'm going to do all the marketing. It requires a very much, I would even say, global vision approach where you scale globally, usually in a few languages like English and French and Spanish, to understand which are your markets and then niche down. So who I am, I'm Laura Cornelia and Inamedinova. I run a marketing agency called LKI Consulting. I've been in crypto space since 2016, and I work with some largest brands to help them prepare the strategy and then execute all of their marketing activities. And what I'm going to tell you today is all the track record and all the know-how that we as an agency got working with more than 200 projects up to date. So let's first talk about 3 biggest myths and misconceptions when it comes to scaling globally. The first one is, and this one I probably see every second discovery call that I have with any of our clients, is that 95% of founders want magic from their marketing. They expect marketing campaigns to be something outside the box, something splashy. They always say these words, guerrilla marketing. Unfortunately, that is not true. When it comes to marketing and scaling sustainably, it's more about the data-driven approach, being very particular with the numbers, with data, and not doing one big campaign. If you expect to buy a billboard and get 100,000 community members, it's not gonna work. The myth #2 is just because you're launching in a high crypto adoption place, you're instantly gonna get a majority of users. Again, that's not true. Just because you're gonna launch in UAE or you're gonna launch in Singapore or let's say United States, where the adoption is so high, the next day the influx of users is gonna come. This is not true. It's not about choosing necessarily the country or the regulation or the jurisdiction with the highest crypto adoption rate. It's also about choosing the country which has the right users, a target audience of your business, and we're going to talk about it in a minute. And myth number 3 is you don't need to build community until your product is out. This is a third biggest misconception that I really try to fight with all of the companies that we work with. They first want to build the product. Once they have the product ready, okay, let's start to build a community afterwards. And the thing is, you're losing time. You can do these two things on parallel. Build a product, do it in small iterations and alpha and beta versions, test it with your existing community to see if it's something that you're building actually what the community needs, and do it side by side. Because if you build a product and only then show it to the community, it might be the wrong product. It might be not the product it needs, and then what? You have to start all over again. So these two things need to be built side by side in order to have something that your target audience needs. So, okay, you know what are the misconceptions, you know what are the myths, you know what you shouldn't do. But what do you need to do? What actually do you need to focus on when building your product to have a community, to have use cases, to do your token launch and be successful? So number 1, don't trust anything but data. When I talk to founders, when I talk to a lot of even investors, and I ask about metrics, even in the panel before when I asked to exactly how many community members someone needs to have, there are no proper answers. Founders don't really have any proper tracking of where they're building the community, where the people are coming from, where the traffic to the website is coming from. If I ask a founder, do you have Google Analytics set up to see what are the traffic sources you're using, you're getting the users from? They don't have it. I ask them, how do you measure the success of the campaign? Or when you're working with influencers, which influencer produces better value? And they don't even have unique referral codes for different influencers to see their impact of the community. So you must basically be so particular with tracking everything you do, because otherwise you don't know what brings you value. Setting up Google Analytics, setting up any other analytics platform, and then measuring each campaign against each other. What is the cost per acquisition? If let's say you're building a community, how much does it cost for you to acquire this community member? How much does it cost for you to acquire one Twitter follower? You have to know this number and then see where the community is coming from, because probably the community from United States is going to be more expensive than a community from Southeast Asia. So you need to start tracking every marketing activity you do against industry standards, against your own benchmarks, to really not overspend the budget you have for marketing, because otherwise you're going to be spending just left and right. And here, I can even say data is the king, because you need to use data to also predict any kind of issues that might arise. For example, you're running a Facebook campaign, you're running a Twitter engagement campaign, and you're not getting any results, or the results you're getting are very expensive compared to, let's say, influencer campaign you ran a couple of months ago. The only numbers are gonna tell you that. And it sounds counterintuitive. Hey, everyone should track everything and should have KPIs. Unfortunately, even the largest companies in the space that we worked with didn't have a proper metric system in their business. Then, of course, community sentiment today versus data tomorrow. It's not about just following what your community is texting and saying in the chat. There might be 1 or 2 unhappy people who are saying, hey, something's not working. But if you have tens of people coming and using your product every day, the data shows differently. So you really need to be very diligent of tracking every step you make to see what brings the maximum ROI for any kind of marketing activities you do. And track everything, and then choose what you want to follow. Insight number 2 is leverage other audiences to scale your business. Because there are two ways how a business can scale. Either they can pay for audience or they can partner up with the audience. So paying for audience means paying to get a press release out in a high traffic publication. Paying for audience means running Facebook ads, running Twitter ads. Paying for audience means coming to a conference, sponsoring the event. It's basically you're coming to someone who already has pre-existing large audience and paying them to get access to this audience. That's option number 1. If you have the budget, if you have fundraised and you want to scale fast, that's a faster approach, but not necessarily cheaper. The second approach is partner up with companies, partner up with influencers, having them on the cap table, is when you go to the same audiences, but you don't pay them to use their audience, you partner up with them for some kind of value in exchange. So for example, if there are other businesses in a similar niches, in a similar industry that is not your competitor and has similar amount of audience, you can partner up with them to cross-promote. You have access to their community and they have access to your community. As you're not competitors, you can really amplify each other's audience free of charge. When it comes to influencers, some of these influencers on Twitter and YouTube charge upfront of hundreds of thousands of dollars to have a campaign. But if you're a tier 1 project or your project that has something very interesting to offer, you can partner up with those influencers. You can even invite them to invest, to be on your cap table in exchange for future promotion. So here, as a project, you need to find some other audience that fits your target client's persona, target community members' persona, and leverage it. I always encourage projects who haven't had the initial investment yet to focus on partnering up. In a conference like this, you can network with people, you can meet everyone, see what they're doing, go around the booths, and find someone who believes in your project and is ready to help in exchange for you probably providing some kind of help as well. So you can pay, or you can use your network to leverage other audiences to scale. And then how to grow by association? So partnerships, influencers, or co-marketing. These are 3 kind of easy things to scale if you don't have huge marketing budget to start with. And insight number 3, you will get nowhere if you're trying to make it perfect. There is another really nice thing that probably everyone who's been in startups before know, fail fast. Try things quickly, see what works, what doesn't, eliminate what doesn't, and just move away. There have been countless situations at the agency with our clients when a client wants to perfect every single word, wants to perfect every single design, and we end up spending months to launch one campaign, which you don't even know if it's going to be successful. Whereas other companies we work with and we advise, we say, hey, let's run 4 campaigns within a month. Let's not make them perfect. We might even leave some mistakes. But let's run it fast, check what is the success of those campaigns, and then adapt accordingly. You can't perfect the product, you can't perfect your marketing campaign till the very end, because you're just going to lose time. If you have a hypothesis, run it quickly, see what results you're getting, and then learn from it and adapt. You should be running a new campaign every week when you're in this growth stage where you really want to build a community. 1 campaign per week, sometimes even more, not 1 campaign a month. And if you're not going to do that, you're just going to be wasting time to perfect something where someone else, a competitor, will come and steal your spotlight. So fail fast, learn, repeat. Don't stall it to make it perfect. And if I want to kind of sum up everything what I've said so far, is marketing success is mostly discipline. Coming up with ideas, coming up with a strategy, planning, preparing to execute the plan, testing the results of the plan, and doing it all again. It's not about doing 1 big campaign. It's not about doing something grand. It's about every day doing small bits of pieces of work of building the community, of working with influencers, running Facebook ads, running Twitter ads on the every day on even like a routine basis, and that's what's going to bring you success. So don't think about grand big things. Think about a Gantt chart. Create yourself a Gantt chart of all the activities you need to do for marketing, when they need to be done, and repeat it. And again, what I'm saying sounds so counterintuitive. Unfortunately, from my experience being in this space for the last 7 years, I don't see it. So marketing success equals discipline. And if you have any questions about marketing, let's talk. Thank you, everyone.